Well, in
Hello, and welcome to Making Sense of It. This program is our gift to you from the Glasser Institute for Choice Theory. And each week we have a speaker that tells us about reality therapy, choice theory, quality schools, lead management, all kinds of goodies in there. And we are blessed today to have with us a renowned speaker and teacher with the Glasser Institute, Steve Hammond. And he is going to be talking with us about, what's your topic, Steve?
well, my topic is choice theory and its universal call to the total formation of children and youth.
Oh, wow. And if we're formed in our childhood and youth, then we become more productive adults also, right?
Oh, absolutely, and
Okay.
a lot happier adults.
Okay. Well, welcome to everyone that's here already and those that will be coming in. And we're ready for you to share if you are. Take it away.
Thank you so much, Mona and Sharon. It's good to see you,
Mhm.
and I'm just very pleased to be here and on this program of making sense of it. And I think that when we start talking about education, there's a lot that we need to make sense of, especially in this day and time when there's so many societal and cultural challenges around us. And that Dr. William Glasser, in his notion, in this format of Glasser Quality Schools, which has choice theory, reality therapy, and lead management embedded in it, with other things, has a lot to offer education. My purpose today is that I would like to make a rationale that the Glasser Quality School is in fact a representation of whole child education. Whole child education is, I think, on the rise today, and that would be a form of education that is highly intentional about forming kids in all of their personhood. For me, I have been working on this for almost 30 years and trying to refine whole child education to its most effective state. And I'd like to also share about what I've done and how that interfaces with Dr. Uh, Glasser Quality School. I have been, I've had the pleasure of opening 6 schools with boards, and the last school is St. Patrick Catholic School in Norfolk, Virginia, where for the past 17, 18 years I have been working with a marvelous faculty and staff and trying to maximize what intentional total formation is and how to maximize also how the Glasser Quality School works alongside of that. So that's what I'm here to today. There's a lot to do about uh, intentional total formation, but I haven't heard so much that the Glasser Quality School has been characterized as such. And I think it would serve and make a lot of sense to make that point. I'll start with a little story. About 20 years ago, when I was hiring faculty and staff for my former school, uh, I would tell them what the vision was for this school and how we were going to wed ourselves through a document to be child centered. We would not deviate from being child centered. That would be our total focus. I talked about this document that we call the graduation. And Mona, if you could just put that up there, I would appreciate it just for a moment.
There we go.
There you go. You can see a little snippet of this document. This is one of 5 or 6 domains. This is called the life of mind. But the other life ofs, if you will, these domains, they're there too. I just wanted to give you a sense of what we're doing. And you can see that you have a life of mind, a scholarly approach to learning here. The former one was a quest for wisdom. And you can see that it's a curriculum as it has intended learner outcomes as a part of it. The first being to develop an appreciation of varying worldviews, which of course is amazingly important for children to be able to do. We call these intended learner outcomes invitations for growth. They're not a coercive type of statement, but they're an invitation. And what students do then is that on a systematic way, they reflect upon how they have succeeded or not in applying these invitations, and then they write what they learned from it. What have they learned from it? You could imagine that doing this for the tenure of their life at the school, it would change, make a transformation in the child's life. Some of them have done this for 10 years, and they've inculcated all the beliefs associated with these things in the manner that they can, and in the development and the age level that they are. So I just wanted to share that, and now we're going to go on and we're going to talk about how Glasser Quality School works into that. Here you have a little pictorial of how this intentional total formation fits into Glasser's choice theory needs. If you look at the roots of this tree, the needs are the roots. Can you see them there? You can see power over to the left of your screen, freedom, fun, survival, and love and belonging. These are the basic needs of the human being, and they're rooted down into the earth, which would be our DNA. These basic needs are DNA driven. They're just part of the universal nature of humankind. And that's where this educational process all starts. And then as the nutrients from these roots, as they move up the tree through the trunk, they go through one of the domains that I call the life of creativity. It's a universal aspect to human personhood. We all have creativity. And through that creativity, it nourishes other universal aspects of the human person, the life of their mind, their intellect, if you will, the life of their spirit, the life of their relationships, the life of their servant leadership, if you will, and of course the life of wellness in their physical aspect as well as in their social emotional aspect. So you can see here the beginnings of my rationale today is that in talking about total formational education or whole child education, that Glasser's premise of the basic needs are so integral to it, they cannot be separated from it. So from that, let's thank you so much, Mona, for putting that up. Let me tell you about a story that when I was interviewing, I told them about what we were doing, just what I've told you, and a few teachers, they started crying, and I was a little bit surprised by that, and I asked, I said, "Why are you crying?" And they said, "Because we always thought it could be this way. We always thought it could be this way." And what their experience was is that they had been in systems that they were virtually asked to be functionaries, to deliver a curriculum at a certain pace, at a certain time, according to a certain calendar, and then to test and to retest and to test and to retest. And they had virtually become numb to the process, and they didn't want to be in it anymore. I asked, I said, well, can you capture the teachable moment? They said, oh no, we could never do that. And I heard this a number of times. This is a transactional education. It's just making a transaction of delivering a product or whatnot, and that's what not these teachers did not want to do. They wanted to be transformational. They wanted to be able to work with the children in such a way that they change that children's form, if you will, change that children's life in those domains that I mentioned, the life of their creativity and the life of their relationships and the life of their mind and spirit, body, emotionality. That's what they wanted. And it wasn't too long ago that some of you will remember that that was the norm. As teachers would not even question that that's what they were there for, is to help the character development of their students, and we just did that naturally. But over the years, that slipped away a little bit, and it's my belief that we have to reclaim that, and it's more urgent now than it ever has been. Why is it more urgent now? It's because with the knowledge explosion and with the society difficulties and challenges that we have, it has we don't have the time that we did in yesteryear. We have many more distractions, and children do too, with media and social media and devices and that sort of thing. So we have to maximize. We have to take full advantage of the time we do have and be highly intentional about that in empowering students to take responsibility for their own education. If they do that, then they will be transformed, because we will get to a point that when they take the reins of their own development and education, then there's no limits. It outstrips our capacity even to imagine what they'll do with that type of belief as they go through their lives. And with all the knowledge that we have to teach today and the limited time that we have to do with it, we have to depend upon them functionally to maximize education. I hope that makes sense to you. That in education we have to be about transformation. Parents want it, students want it, school people want it, teachers want it. We all want it. None of those people or groups are broken. They're not broken, but we have a system that is broken and needs to be reprioritized. We have all the information there. We just have to prioritize it. We have to assemble it in such a way that it makes sense for education. So transformation cannot be accomplished by coercion. You've heard that as a choice theorist and a devotee of Glasser's premises so very often. Coercing kids are not going to get the job done in helping them to become transformed. You cannot scare or bribe someone into compliance and expect that that teaching will remain with them very long. And it certainly will not help them become transformed. The I had a student one time not too long ago that ran up to me and said, Mr. Hammond, I got it. And I said, Elijah, what did you get? I understand now that what y'all were trying to do was to teach us the most important things. And I said, Elijah, you got it. That is exactly right. Because if you start with the most important things, Elijah, then the secondary and the tertiary things, they'll fall into place. But you got to start with the big rocks. You know, the rocks in the bowl. You know, you have to start with those big rocks first. Then you can fill in the cracks with the pebbles. And then remember, you put sand in, you fill in the rest with the sand. And then after that, you can put in the water and it'll all fit. But you have to get the priorities right. You don't do that, it won't work. Yes, Elijah, you were exactly right. Glasser, he envisioned a classroom in which children's needs would be met. Imagine that. Which we have heard it so many times. It's like wallpaper to us. But this is radical. This is absolutely radical. That he is advocating for a needs satisfying classroom. And in satisfying those needs and teaching children what their needs are and how they can satisfy them in a quality manner, that is absolutely revolutionary. Because one, if you can understand your needs, which children can readily do, then you can develop empathy for others. And you can develop empathy and compassion for yourself. You're less likely to beat yourself up because of some kind of impression that you had of yourself or criticism you have of yourself. And you're more likely to be able to empathize, be compassionate, forgive others for doing something that may have offended you because you understand how it works. When teachers and administrators empower children to take ownership of satisfying their basic needs while respecting the common good, I'll underscore that, while respecting the common good, great things happen. This is great stuff. These are the big rocks that are put into the bowl. And that what happens and where they take that is going to be good. It's going to be big. And although we may never see it, it's going to help change their lives and the lives of others. Pardon me for a second. So I want to move then from choice theory, which is satisfying basic needs and the like, although there's a lot more to talk about that in terms of whole child education, what we learn by it, but spend a little time on reality therapy, empowering kids to use reality therapy, or I like to call it success planning, in their attempts to satisfy their basic needs and wants, um, is again incredibly empowering. Can you imagine that in Glasser Quality Schools, we're giving children a means to solve their own problems and to help others solve their problems? And we do that so much that it becomes just integral to who they are as people. So after a few years, they'll sit down with somebody and say, well, what are you trying to get at? What do you want? And work and go through the questioning process just very, very naturally. This is so freeing, so empowering that we overlook it, I think, sometimes in the Glasser world. But it gives so much in life skills. It will change the way they view life and the way they deal with life, that this is an aspect of whole child education, of intentional total formation. This is big, giving children a problem solving skill that they'll take with them for the rest of their lives. One thing that I'd like to point out is that a lot of times I've dealt with kids that are having relational problems with other kids. And when I ask them what they want out of their relationship, they're a little bit quizzical. And I have to help them with it a little bit. And I said, well, do you want to have no relationship? Do you want to have a civil relationship? Do you want to have a friendly relationship? Do you want to have a friend relationship? Do you want to have a best friend relationship? And then we start talking about what they really want out of their relationship. And most of the time they choose friendly or they like a friend relationship. And then we can take that information and go on to say, well, what does that look like and how can you get there? Very, very wonderful process. It's all part of reality. Glasser's philosophy and program in empowering human beings to choose to get their universal needs met in concert with the common good is a transformative process where human beings must use restraint, wisdom, empathy, and negotiation. Is what you are about to do going to bring you closer or farther away from the person in front of you? Powerful, powerful question. But it embodies, it calls for those character traits that I just mentioned. And those things are the most important. They are the product of what we want in whole child education. Because we know that's going to become the tracks. Those character traits are going to become the tracks upon which those children will run on for probably the rest of their life. Hope that makes sense. Glasser said that quality is never, never destructive. And again, what that says underneath it all is that then it's his admonition that our relationships should be empathic, peaceful, service-oriented, being able to negotiate, all of those things, just by saying the quality which we all strive for is never destructive. Whole child education. But most people, or many people, I think, overlook is that human beings, or what human beings call good, are those behaviors which assist others in getting their needs met. Sometimes they're survival needs. There's an equivalency between good and assisting other people. Choice theory promotes good, compassionate, empathic, and ethical behavior. In a sense, choice theory is compatible with religions, although it's not religious. At least those religions which are advocating assisting other people. De facto, choice theory, reality therapy, lead management, and their application in the Glasser Quality School promotes ethical behavior. Ethical behavior. Again, this is an aspect of whole child education, and it goes beyond what we've talked about and thought about in terms of Glasser Quality School. Big, fundamental, and if the world ever needs ethical behavior, it needs it today. Mona, could you tell me how much time I have left?
Well, go ahead and talk. You're doing good.
Well,
5 minutes or so. How about that?
Okay, that'd be fine. Thank you. Then fundamental to the Glasser Quality School then is to help children become critical thinkers, successful problem solvers, how they can make wise choices. How can you teach a child to make great choices and not give them the opportunity to choose? We think that that might work just by telling them so, but it doesn't work. We have to, inside of a Glasser Quality School, a school of intentional total formation, give children the chance to make decisions on their own. Every coach in the world will tell you that. So that's why we help facilitate their problem solving as best we can, being facilitators, not mandators. And you know what? We know inside the Glasser Quality School that it works, and they soon become great problem solvers and having the ability to self-evaluate, self-reflect when it comes to themselves. Is there anything more important to be able to look into yourself and to self-evaluate and self-reflect upon those things for continuous improvement? I'm not sure that there is. So I would commend to you once again that the Glasser Quality School, animated by choice theory, reality therapy, and lead management, is whole child education and should be considered such. And then you know what happens when you start that and you start with the most important things, just like Dr. Glasser has done in his work, then it will affect everything. Now, Glasser School can be considered a whole child education, but it also can be considered a leadership education. It also can be considered an SEL, social emotional learning education. There's no end to it because if you start with the most important stuff, it leads to these character traits. Kids will take that into the future, into their lives, and they will practice those things. Great confidence and great effectiveness. It is a transformative model for education that emphasizes the total formation of the human person, practically in self-motivating ways, which offers monumental benefits to the individual, to the school, to the community, and to the world. Good luck in your quest for becoming an intentional, total formative school, a Glasser Quality School. And if you ever have any questions going forward, I would be happy to lend my thoughts to you in whatever way I can be of service.
All right, all right, all right. That was fantastic. It was really powerful words, but it was said with such meaning and such heart. I mean, it was just pouring out. So I love the way that you talked about that choice theory is basically the way of getting our needs met that is good for the whole, while at the same time, I loved how you took the having teachable moments and it's kind of the baby step that this is, what you were doing, what you were, is it for the good of the whole? So it's that teachable moment that is a baby step to life transformation. Yeah. I mean, it just became so clear as you were expressing that. And the rock, that we have to have a firm foundation, and that rock is having your basic needs met, as well as also learning to be your own therapist to a degree.
I would agree in that, I'm not a counselor and in an educator, but in working with a lot of other educators in choice theory and Glasser Quality Schools, we can impart all this information and the students will inculcate that and use it. It's not therapeutic sessions or the like, but if we empower them with that knowledge and their beliefs are changed, then so we believe, this format of cognitive psychology, so we believe, so we feel, so we act. Our actions ride on the tracks of our beliefs. So if we can change, give information, and change beliefs, then we have the capacity to help them change their behavior for a life.
And running on a track is more powerful than off a track.
That is that is a great thought.
Just like when we're driving our vehicle, we're constantly doing this to keep it in line.
Keep it between the lanes.
Yeah.
Yeah, I guess you could have a train. I guess it could move a little bit if it wasn't on a track, but it's going to be a little slow and a bumpy ride.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, this has been fantastic. So, and I love the fact that looking at the coaches, the life coaches, whomever that is
Mm.
helping you to make decisions that are good for you.
And one of the things I love about this so much is that every time you engage in one of these types of sessions with kids or faculty or staff or whoever it is, you learn. You learn more than they learn, probably.
Right. You see things in a different perspective that
Yeah.
applies to you. Yeah. Well,
Okay.
thank you very, very much. We're going to close out, and those that are here live can interact one-on-one with Steve. So many blessings and
It,
good mental health.
you know, I want to give a shout out, Mona, to Leaja Horn. And you might not know that name yet, but you will, because she is an up and comer, and she is the principal of Achievement Charter Academy in North Carolina. It's a 3-year-old academy, and she is, and it's a Glasser quality school.
All right.
And so she is doing fantastic work there. And I think we're going to hear a lot more from Leaja before too long.
Okay. Many blessings. Good mental health.